Up next on Inside ChampCar, racing with premium dudes. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He is Bill Strong. And we are here just after AMP Motorsports Park.
Fresh out of AMP.
Fresh out of AMP. That sounds like a rap song, right? Fresh out of AMP.
That'll do it.
Welcome, Bill. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. A little wore out from that weekend. It was nice and warm and pretty crowded down there with all the cars and the Moonshine Festival going on.
Well, there you go.
Get home and Fred Wolf calls me right away and gives me some great news. We'll talk about that later.
Cool. With us today.
Go ahead.
With us today from Premium Dudes, Nate Gardiner. How you doing there, sir?
Hi, doing great. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Sorry for the delay to everybody. I had the boxes messed up, so I had to do a quick little finagle. But we're here. We're having fun. Or at least we're going to have fun. I guarantee you that. Nate, we start every show with the same question, and since you're a newbie on the show, here it comes. How did you get mixed up in this crazy sport that we love?
Well, I grew up on basically a farm. Not really a farm, but we had tractors and stuff. So I was always around machines and had an interest in machines. Went to undergrad and studied mechanical engineering. And then coming out of that, I was hanging out with my wife and her brother and some of their childhood friends. One of them being Andrew Johnson. And I heard that Andrew had a race car, but it was a Honda. So I made fun of him. And then he challenged me, as I should. Yes, I should. He challenged me. He basically said, all right, come out and pit crew for me at a race and see how slow my Honda is. So I came out and to a race in, it was at that one outside St. Louis.
Gateway.
Oh, yeah, Gateway.
Yeah, Gateway. Crewed for him at Gateway, and then I was hooked after that. I came back from that race and said, all right, I've got to get one of these.
So you got a Honda?
I asked him what car I should get, and he said, don't get a Honda. Get a BMW. So,
yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Makes
and he's
me
still
so
winning,
sad.
racing and winning it with a Honda, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But he had the luxury that when I started out, I didn't have. So when I was a kid and I got started in this whole thing, when I would tell kids I was going to the racetrack for the weekend, my friends in high school, they'd be like, yeah, what does that mean? Racetrack, is that like demolition derby? They had no clue. But
horses.
Yeah, well, they knew it wasn't horses because you wouldn't want to see me on a horse. But nonetheless, it's like it was like voodoo to them. Now, with the invention of the internet and this awesome thing called ChampCar Live, you can actually show people what you do and they can watch from home, which is beyond cool.
Oh, that was a question.
No, it was more of a statement than a question. More of a statement than a question. So how quickly did you get hooked when you went to that first race?
Pretty much right away.
Yeah.
Once I saw a green flag and they were going down the straight and going into turn one, pretty hooked after that. I said, all right, this is something I've got to get into.
So was that your first time in the car?
No, I was just crewing. I did not drive.
Okay. All right.
I was crewing and, helped with his car. I watched some of the other cars there and really liked what I saw. My first time in a car, a different friend of mine was racing in Charlotte, and he was crazy enough to let me drive his car at Charlotte.
Holy crap.
And I had never been in a race car before. And he put me in an 86 BMW 5 Series. And I did 5 laps at Charlotte and pulled right back in. I said, this is too fast. I'm just getting blown by here. I don't know what I'm doing. So I got out, and then he let me cool off for like an hour or two, talked me through what was happening, and said, you have to go back in the car.
Yeah.
So he forced me to get back in the car before I left. And so I did another like 30 minutes and settled in and really enjoyed it. And so then after that, that's when I bought the E30 that we now have. And that was back in 2013.
Yeah, that Charlotte, I don't know if I'd use that as a first race. That is a scary track. And
I don't know.
it
It
takes
was.
skill, and you got to know what to do when the car gets a little upset or you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, and it was a weird configuration that year. They weren't running the Roval. They were using the whole oval with 2 chicanes, basically.
Right.
So it was,
Oh, yeah, that's the one I skipped. Yes.
yeah, it was fast, and the guys who knew what they were doing were going past me like 40 miles an hour, and
Yeah.
it was scary.
Yeah. They only did the inside. I don't know why they did that. I forget why.
I want to say that Charlotte was setting up a different event on the infield for something not related to racing. They had some event going on.
Right.
So there's a way to run
Kyle
Charlotte.
Kyle brought up the water barriers. They had water barriers the first year, but that's the one that John gave. John got up and gave us the come to Jesus meeting about people hitting his water barriers, and he put all these chicanes on the front straight and a couple on the back straight. This is on the old Roval configuration, not the one they've redone since.
Okay.
I think it was 2012, but they yes, I got some great pictures of a car going through there and the barriers in the air and just plastic. He didn't put water in them. He just put them out on track. So that was interesting.
So they were like Legos.
Yeah. And Kyle brings up the champ trucks. Champ trucks came there, I think, the following year, 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
So
Just looking at the internet.
was it, I mean, probably the best thing that ever happened was that he forced you back in the car, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was essential.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got back in the car, wasn't scared that time, had fun with it, and then decided, yeah, okay, I'll go through, I'll buy one of these and I'll get into it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So how hard was it? I mean, did you work on cars? Did you play with cars, or was that just something that you just had to learn?
Like growing up, I was always interested in mechanical stuff, and so I had I've got the mechanical aptitude, as you would say, but I was never really a car guy. So I'd done some small car repairs with my dad, but nothing like taking an engine apart. So when I got this E30 and had to start turning it into a race car, I basically just winged it. Lots of YouTube videos like, oh, how do I get the valve cover off? Well, go to YouTube. How do I change a water pump? All right, back to YouTube. So I spent the first like 5 months of that build. Half the time probably on YouTube and half the time wrenching.
So how long did it take you to move a tablet or a computer out to the garage?
I think I was just using my phone.
Okay. Okay. Because I finally bit it, Bill. I finally took it. I now have a laptop in the garage.
Yeah. I probably used my laptop, though. I can't remember exactly, but probably did.
And then, so you got this thing all built up. You got a roll cage for it. Now, what kind of engineer are you? Civil?
Mechanical.
Okay, mechanical.
Yeah.
All right.
I just like saying civil engineer.
Is that helpful?
Yes. Is it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're a data guy too, right?
No. As if you would, I mean, I like looking at some of the pretty lines that the AIM Solo puts out on the computer when you plug it in, but I'm not what you would call a data guy.
Okay.
I think, especially in the racing sphere, I think most people would call me a data guy, but if you talk amongst racers, I'm not a data guy. We don't have live telemetry. We're not logging anything. The only thing we have for data is the AIM Solo.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I still think is one of the best tools ever. The day we got one of those it just changed us all. The predictive timing and just everything.
I think the predictive timing AIM Solo is worth, for an inexperienced driver, 4 or 5 seconds, something like that. Like the immediate feedback of seeing, oh, you're slow, like is huge. Because then because we didn't have one for like the first few races, and I'd get out there and running lap times. I'm like, man, I'm really hauling. I'm doing great. I call in on the radio. I'm like, how are my lap times? I'm flying, right? They're like, you're like 6 seconds off pace. Like, what are you doing? If I've got the AIM Solo out there, I know for myself that I'm 6 seconds off pace halfway through the lap.
Yeah.
I know that like I need to pick it up and figure out what I'm doing wrong. So yeah, it's a fantastic tool, especially for beginners.
So do you set the target time and then or does it do it for you?
No, it just tells you what your last lap time was,
Okay.
and then it'll tell you your progress on this current lap, how you're doing,
Okay.
with a number. And it's helpful to send out an experienced driver for stint one, because then he'll tell you what the car's capable of.
Sure.
You know, if I went out stint one, I'd say, oh yeah, the car's only capable of like 250s or 3 minutes, and then I think I'm doing good. And then he goes out there, he's 5 seconds faster than me. So
Right. Right.
Yeah, because if I'd put it in there, it'd be like Ayrton Senna times, and then I'd be really disappointed, like really disappointed. Yeah.
So when did your car first hit the track? What year?
we got out. So I bought it, I want to say like November of 2013.
Okay.
And he debuted in April the following year, 2014. It was, I mean, basically it was at the time ChampCar legal. Andrew put the roll cage in. We bought a roll cage components, weld it yourself roll cage. And other than that, the car was completely stock. It was on stock springs. It was sitting, you know, way off the ground. I mean, we had ground clearance like a dune buggy, because I had absolutely nothing to the car except for like rebuild the brakes. I think I did water pump and stuff like that.
Right.
And then it was all I could do just to get it out to the track. So that race, we were real slow. And then, but we finished. We finished both days.
And did you
that's
have
big,
fun?
man?
Yeah.
Finishing with your first build, and yeah, that's big.
Yeah. I mean, we had repairs throughout. Like, you know, we broke a ball joint one day and then had to fix that. We broke a shifter on the test day. So we were not without our issues, but we still took the checker both days. And then after that first race, that's when we started working on making it fast.
Right. And how long of the development process was it before you felt the car, you know, to where you got the car to, I guess cars never stop developing, but how long was the development process till you really kind of felt you were almost there?
Oh, we're still not there.
Fair enough.
How much? Really, though, having Andrew on the team, because Andrew had been doing this for a long time. Between that debut race and our next race, the car spent several weeks in his garage, in his dad's garage, and for a few weeks I didn't see the car, but he and his dad were putting in a lot of work on it. And I get there, it's like, oh, well, the car's pretty fast now. Cool. Like, what did you guys do?
Yeah.
And that was like cutting springs, doing a lot of the maintenance work that needed to be done, like new axles, new bolt, wheel bearings, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And actually getting it, like making it so the camber was correct, or at least not stock, and all kinds of things.
I mean, it's funny though, how many of us were out there just eyeballing stuff and kind of making it look right, and going out and can't figure out why the thing won't turn.
Yeah.
It's a big, you know, as a team owner, you have so many things that you need to do and you have to learn. And yeah, that was the hardest one for me, was alignments, trying to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still ask Andrew what to do for alignment. We get to the track, I'm like, all right, let's string it. What numbers are we going for?
I did one time. The car performed so well. It was that one time we didn't write everything down.
Of course not.
No, never got it back again.
Of course not. So how many? Oh, go ahead, Bill.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying. So how many races do you guys get out to do every year?
For gosh, I think like the first 4 years we were doing 2 events per year.
Okay.
And I think we had like a max tow distance of like 8 hours. Probably we're trying to keep it local. For the past couple of years, we've been doing 3 events per year.
Right.
So this year we did Audubon, Gingerman, and Road America.
Okay.
So we're really fortunate being in Chicago. We've got 3 great tracks within 3 hours.
Yeah, because I grew up in Lake Geneva, so just a little north of there, and that was one of the best things about being in that area is, like you said, 3 tracks within 3 hours, but you had 10 tracks within a 12-hour tow of the kind of Wisconsin-Illinois border there. Everything from Brainerd to Mid-Ohio to Gateway, and when you pull in Nelson, because that was kind of the closest going in that direction, it was 10 tracks, and you know, within a half day's tow. So, well, a long day, I guess. A 12 hours is a good long day tow. But still, just a great area. The only problem is that you could only race from like May 1st until November 1st.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of, smashing a lot of races into a short period of time. So
now one of the things, I've won one race. NCM, probably one of the best tracks in the whole wide world because I won there.
Of course.
Ed has won Daytona. Ed won Daytona. The top cars dropped out, and there he was, just as the perfect win.
Yeah.
But you are one of the few people in the world that has won a race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
What does that feel
like? Amazing. Probably greatest life accomplishment. No, it's fantastic. We were, as Doc said, like my feet didn't touch the ground for a month after that race.
Yeah.
So
well,
that was special. And after that race, like for the rest of the year, like we were kind of thinking about doing another race later in the year, and I was like, no, let me just ride on this Indy high.
That's awesome.
We'll just coast on this for the rest of the year, and then we'll come out next year.
So did you grow up a race fan?
Nope. I grew up, I want to say 15 miles from Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. But I think I went to one race there ever, and like an Indy event, but I was not someone who actually watched or followed racing.
Sure.
I probably would have liked it if I did, but it's not something my parents or anyone I was hanging out with was interested in. Much more.
Your parents were farmers?
No, not by trade. my mom grew up on a farm, and we were I grew up on what was a farm. It wasn't a working farm at the time that I was living there, but we had a barn, we had a tractor, we basically grew grass and then cut it down. So
yeah. That's good stuff.
But yeah, so I did not grow up racing or liking racing, but kind of fell into it after college and after hanging out with Andrew and getting into ChampCar. This is basically when I started, about when I got the car and got into ChampCars, when I started following Formula One and IndyCar.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What kind of car do you have in high school? This will tell you a lot about a guy.
2000 Jetta 5-speed.
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah, that's a great car. Great high school car.
I loved it. It was great.
The reason I asked is I grew up in an era where, there was one race at Indy, and that was a 500. There was no Brickyard 400. There was no Formula One, and certainly no amateur racing. So, I grew up where Indy was unobtainium. I've never gone through the tunnel as even dreaming of being a competitor. When I would go through the tunnel, I was going to be a spectator. And the idea of ever competing was just like, there's no way that's ever going to happen. And then the first amateur race went there several years back, and then ChampCar and everything, and now historics go there. And now the idea of going to the place where I grew up idolizing this location and going racing is just something I've got now on the bucket list. That's actually something I might be able to do someday. And it's because of organizations like ChampCar and others that are now going to, the holy grail of motorsports. It's so cool. So,
but to win something like that is impossible, except for one guy.
Yeah.
So that was real special. Yeah. And like you were saying, like you grew up like knowing Indy and knowing how, sacred it is basically. And I didn't. So when I saw Indy on the schedule and the amount that everyone was freaking out about going to Indy, I said, okay, I've got to get us on the schedule. So I was one of those teams that signed up within 12 minutes of the sign up going live, because I think it sold out in about 12 or 13 minutes.
I bet.
I was one of those teams. And then in the months leading up to it, I started reading more about Indy, watching videos and stuff, and then really got the sense like, oh, this is special. This is a big deal. And this is an amazing event.
I just remember going to the meeting with Mike Chiswick. I think Jimmy was with us and Phil McKinney. And, we're walking through the tunnel. We're walking up through the elevators. And it's just like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. The whole time. We get up into the offices. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Doug Bowles walks in. Oh, my God. It's just, we were just like fanboys. And it was crazy. Yeah, you try to be all professional, but in your head, you're just screaming, "Oh my God, I'm here!"
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, when we went back there to put the race on, it was a year of, or I don't know how long it was. Yeah, almost a year of meetings, monthly meetings, and just over and over. Just sorting everything out. And then we get there, and boom, and then Nathan just wins it. But hard work doing it.
Day
It
two.
wasn't easy for you.
No, it was not easy. Day one, we had a great car, and who was that team that won? They're from Florida with those Mitsubishis.
Oh, Tuttle.
No, the other ones. The
orange ones?
They had a blue and orange, they had a Gulf livery one, and then they had like the white one.
Oh, yes, that's
Gosh, I can't.
Come on, guys, help me. Jackie X.
Jackie X, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had great pace. We had great pace on day one. Some of the top teams, so Andrew brought his Honda there. I think they had contact on day one or something. They had an issue. Yeah, it was contact. It took them out. Some of the really top teams were falling off. And then going to the last stint, it was us and Jackie X pretty much neck and neck. And we had an electrical issue, which just kept on getting worse that day. And it turned out to be a crank position sensor. We ended up losing enough time from that Jackie X passed us for the win. So we got second on day one. And that was pretty crushing. But we replaced that sensor, came out day two, and just ran a perfect race almost. And ended up getting it. So the car handled great at that track. I guess we had a good setup. And things just fell in place. I think Andrew's car, again, was faster than us, but they had transmission trouble day two. I think they'd gone 10 races in a row with no transmission trouble. They get to Indy, transmission breaks. So the stars aligned, and we took that win, and it was really, really something.
So was that the first ChampCar race at Indy?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, no one's ever going to take that away from you.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, his was the second one.
Yeah, mine was the
Jackie
second.
X won the first one.
Well,
Jackie
but
X
first
won the
weekend.
Yes,
First weekend.
First weekend.
Yeah.
But you can't forget Jackie X taking the first ever.
Yeah.
That's
And then he quits and moves to Florida after that. He said, I've reached the pinnacle, done.
Yeah. No,
Or not Florida. He moves to Mexico.
I get that.
Oh,
All right. So you've won 12 races. Is that
that's
right?
it. Yeah, 12. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds about right.
I have a data guy over
You
here
have
feeding
it?
me
Okay.
info. Yeah. 12 races. That's a pretty good number, man.
It is. I think we've entered 42. We were adding up the numbers as a team, a month ago. So I think it's 12 out of 42. Certainly, I'll say that some of that is because we've been racing in the Midwest, and we get quite a few races. There 30 cars show up.
Right.
If we were racing Daytona, where there's 120, I don't think we would have 12 wins.
Right.
But still, 12 wins is
12 wins is 12
that's
wins.
a pretty
man. It
damn
doesn't
good
matter.
number.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, especially it's still endurance racing. So you still got to get to the end of an 8 or a 12 or a 14 or whatever the number is.
It's 13. Nate's
Yeah.
fourth gear
Oh, it's
pulls.
13.
Okay.
Oh,
Whatever the
13.
number is, you know.
Because he won recently, too, but under a different car name.
Yeah.
Got it.
We were playing around with joke names for one race, and then Bill got mad at me. So.
Yeah. Well, I got mad at you because Paulie will get mad at me because everybody keeps changing their names. He has to figure out who's what, where, and when for the championship.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So
13
this
wins,
past
I think it's 22 podiums total. So
wow. So this past weekend, or not this weekend before last, we're at Road America.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice weather. We had a good race out there.
it was raining
You
day
end up,
one.
yeah,
good
you
for
end
us.
up on the podium. You get
Yeah.
protested.
Yep.
We sequestered your car over into the tech building, and I think both of
Bill
us learned
screwed it
some
all up.
valuable. I did for like a millisecond.
Yeah.
But to him, it was probably all in slow motion, and he's just freaking out. So it's said that they want to make sure the camshafts in your car are correct.
So
Yeah.
so let's go
So-
backwards, Bill. Who is
Yeah.
they?
They, a team,
Okay. So you were
protests his
protesting.
car.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, so a team protests his car, and so he pulls the valve cover off. We're doing it out of the weather. It's pretty windy out there.
Sure.
It was
Don't
actually
wanna get
really
dirty.
nice that we got protested because we were in the tech shed when it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been standing out in the rain. So,
Yep. So gets a cam cover off, and I get the tools out, and all we have is my dad gave me, when he passed away, gave me a ton of machinist tools. Of course, he was a machinist in the 60s and 70s, when they used slide rules and still, just, all no digital stuff. So I have this, what do they call that? A
micrometer?
Caliper.
Okay.
Yeah. A caliper with just a dial, no digital. And we have to measure. First of all, we have to get the measurements. What is this cam supposed to measure at? As soon as everybody's watching YouTube and doing all kinds of crazy stuff on their phones, as soon as we go to do this, the internet dies up there at Road America. So it's difficult to find stuff. You're finding things on the internet that are, forums. And like we talked about earlier, you don't know how good that info is, where it's from. If it was placed in there by some guy doing the old ChampCar, data from way back, and so how false that is. And so we have to find this stuff. Finally, we get some numbers from Chris Huggins, and that compares up with what other stuff we found on the internet. But then everybody that's measuring, including myself, is getting a different number because we just don't know how to measure these camshafts while they're still in the engine, which is hard. It's not easy to do. You got to get it at the right angle. And so I measure it. We get a number that kind of matches up to a ZHP cam, which shouldn't be in his engine. And you get that look. I think it's that look right there we see, It's just like, Bill, stop messing with me, or something to that effect. And it's like, okay, there's something wrong here. So I measure again, I get a different number, and it's just, we bring other people in, they're getting different numbers. And finally we figure out, okay, we got to turn, I think you guys turned the cams a certain way in the head, and we were able to get it, and it was spot on with what Chris sent. Then I had you measure it, and then I had the guy pros testing measurement. Everybody was happy. So everything was good. Same thing with your fuel cell. That was inspected, hands dipped into it, things touched and felt, and all kinds of cool stuff. But that is really hard. You spend so much time building these cars, and a lot of times you assume that the parts are legal, but sometimes you second guess yourself,
right?
Because you said that.
So was the cam supposed to be stock?
Yeah. So on that engine, well, with our build, we've started 450 VPI. We've got 50 points on the engine. So if we've got illegal if we have non-stock cams in there, that adds 50 points. Right. So we'd have to be at 5 penalty laps. And we were not claiming, non-OE cams. We were claiming the stock engine. So they had better be stock. And going into that, when I heard we were being protested, I said, cool. I mean, it's going to pass. It's just going to take an extra little, this might take an hour to get it cleared, but this is fine. No big deal. And who knows, maybe some people will start believing us more. So I was looking at it as like a good thing. It's like, all right, cool. Protest, let's do it. Because I knew that I hadn't messed with the cams.
Right.
And when I bought that engine on Facebook and looked at it, it had every impression of being, and then when I started pulling it apart and pulling the hoses off and stuff, it had every impression or every indication that this was an untouched engine that no one had looked at for 19 years and certainly had not been messed with or cared for enough to have, that a previous owner would have been putting hot cams in it.
Right.
So I couldn't be positive, but I was pretty sure that the cams were stock in that engine.
Sure. So, Bill, I take it from this conversation that there's no ChampCar rule that requires the teams to have the shop manual for their car with them at the racetrack.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are pretty expensive.
Asked me
I have one of those. I
couldn't tell you what the specs were. Yeah.
They're expensive.
Well, yeah, but these days you can go to All Data, and for $19 a year you could rent the shop manual. So because of what happened to Nate, I've talked to our tech guys, and last week we had a meeting about it, about what Nate went through, and potentially the kind of experiences we've had in the past with inspecting folks. It turned out to be legal. We're putting together binders, basically with all the basic measurements that we are going to take at the track for the teams that we suspect will be, that will be
measured or whatever.
Right.
So basically, all the E30s,
Sure.
all the what do you call them? E36s, E46s, no Toyotas, but I'm kidding. So basically, all the top cars, and to include Toyotas. So we're gonna do that with the engine designations. That's the crazy part. There's so many different, M54, B16, letters, all kinds of stuff. So
Alphabet soup. Yeah.
Yes, and Hondas are like that.
Right.
It's just you can have a K24, but there's 15 versions of it. So what's what?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that, and the all data thing. We're going to actually be talking with them at PRI, which I don't know if you guys know. I got my credentials here, so we're going to be taking Chelsea, me, and Ray Frank up there.
Right.
Excuse me, and we'll be talking to folks like that and see if we can get some info from them, and maybe get a subscription or two, and so we can start using that at races to get better data and to help you guys.
All data should give you a subscription.
Or is it all data? I don't know who is.
Yeah,
somebody.
They should give you like a subscription in exchange for being, a little partner of ChampCar.
Inside ChampCar, brought to you by
all data. There you go. There's an idea. Throw it out there, Bill.
I'm throwing. So yeah, we're gonna do something like that. But just to make it easier for us, the tech guys,
right.
Anybody measuring, even the teams. Like you said, you didn't know if anybody'd messed with it. You're pretty certain they didn't, but it'd be kind of nice to know if you just took your calipers and, nope, stock.
Yeah. The amount of inspection I did when putting that engine in the car was, I looked at it long enough to see that they were stock appearing and they had casting part numbers on them,
right.
which matched what it should have been.
Right.
But we always ground.
But I didn't put a caliper on it, so
we always thought grinding off all those numbers was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, it would reduce the weight, which would be helpful.
Yeah.
So it's a totally valid reason to grind
the oil doesn't stick to those numbers very well. It just flows right off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So. Yeah. Remember that.
Reduce the weight, reduce the friction.
Remember
actually,
that, Paul Cruz?
I should do that now. Thanks for the idea, Bill. That's my next.
Remember that, Paul Cruz? Grind off all the numbers. It reduces weight.
Yeah.
Paul's watching.
That's awesome. So what's up next for you guys?
What's up next? I guess we're doing a lot of work this winter to prepare for the NCM championship. So we're going in there with 2 wins, so we'll be kind of right at the top of the seed. And this winter is all dedicated to reliability, because with the new engine swap we did last winter, which has worked out great for us going with the M54, that's been running great all season. We don't need to touch that. We made suspension changes, springs, dampers. We did a lot of changes before Gingerman and then again before Road America. We've now arrived at a really good setup that we like there. And so we're happy with the performance. So this winter is going to be the whole 9 yards. New brake calipers, new brake hoses, new axles, new fuel system components, control arms, tie rods, all wheel bearings, wheel hubs, basically everything that moves. We're going to replace it to ensure that we have the best chance going into the NCM championship.
And are you going to have a race between now and NCM to make sure all those changes are good and ready to go?
No, I think that race is in March. And like you said, it's I don't know if that was during the podcast or when we were talking before. You don't get much racing in the winter in Chicago. So we're gonna, hopefully there's a test day to shake it down at NCM.
Okay.
And then, but if not, day one of the championship, that's gonna be when we're shaking it down and making sure that we tightened everything up correctly.
Right.
So what do you think? What kind of race do you think we should run? Should we run one of those 14-hour long races where it's just, the Parc Fermé type thing, or are the races?
We are huge fans of the Parc Fermé format.
Why is that? Why?
Well, because this is endurance racing. So you want to run a long race that really tests the cars and tests the teams and make sure that everything is, it's harder to go 14 hours than 7 hours and give a nice challenge. But then the Park for May format is really great because you get to sleep and take a shower between the first and the second day. And that's
and
really
you better
sweet.
show up with a car prepared to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Finish.
You know, there's no fixing, you know, a wheel bearing that's going bad, you know, between day 1 and day 2. You better come with a good one on starting out.
I've done a bunch of the Park for Mays. I do like them as a car owner because it's like, I get to sleep. I get to eat dinner with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, and because it prevents you from working on the car, that's a blessing right there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have to spend 2 or 3 hours, you know, touching every nut and bolt on the car just to make sure they're not coming loose.
Now, what if? And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's just throw a wild idea out there. What if we Park for Mate everybody, but you were given like half an hour to do whatever you wanted on the car with the exception of fueling? What would that do?
That doesn't sound like Park for Me.
Well, okay, not Park for Me, but you get half an hour to do anything you want on the car with the exception of fueling. Okay.
That was as definitive as you're ever going to get, Bill.
Asking. I'm not saying we probably won't do that at NCM, but I was just thinking about maybe another race down there.
It's an interesting idea, but I like that Park for May is the best recreation of like a straight 14 or 15 hour race that you can get.
But you get to sleep.
But you get to sleep and take a shower.
Do you really get to sleep because you're worried about, I swear that bearing was vibrating?
Well, I get to sleep. I don't know about other people, but I'm able to separate and you know, put things into a bracket or category that's just things that I don't have any control over.
Right.
Perfect.
If I don't have control over it, it doesn't worry me and I can sleep. So
good.
You are the man of Zen.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Anything else, Bill, before we let Nate go have dinner or go take care of his kid?
No. Oh, one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
How do you balance all that? You have a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Wife, family, house, work. How do you balance all that?
It's really easy to balance because I don't have work. that's the piece of your puzzle that's missing here. So when he was born almost 2.5 years ago, I quit my job and I've been staying home watching him ever since. So I'm really fortunate to have married a doctor, and
well done.
And so she has the income to support us, and I stay home and take care of the kid, and it's been wonderful.
That's awesome.
So I get a lot of work done, you know, during nap time.
Yeah.
So he takes, you know, he'll get down around 1 p.m. or so, and then I know I've got 2 hours I can get some work done on the car.
Oh, I was going to say, man, that's a 12-hour nap time. Man, that's a good kid.
My wife is convinced that if that were our situation, I'd never be able to handle it. So
it's tough.
I don't get to choose, so I won't ever have to prove myself. But now that's
I'm sure
awesome.
It's not for everybody, but it's working out for us really nicely. So I enjoy it.
Fantastic. All right, Nate Gardiner, Premium Dudes, thank you so much for being with us. Good luck at NCM. We're looking forward to seeing how that whole thing plays out for you. And have a good time. Have a good winter. Stay warm up there.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Bill. Great being on the show.
All right, when we come back, we've got some news and notes and some other stuff to catch up on. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a bit.
ChampCar is an endurance road racing grassroots motorsports series. The idea of ChampCar is you can get a bunch of buddies together and on a budget go to these premier racetracks all over the United States and up into Canada and get maximum track time.
Josh here, Wasting Money Racing. The things that really draw us to ChampCar that we love is that the series is a little bit more serious than the other entry-level endurance racing series, and the series as a whole is like a big family, and everybody is always willing to help each other in any dire situation that you may have.
The rulebook is intentionally kept small to make it simple for everybody to go racing, and yet control costs for the competitors. For sure, one of the most exciting things for me with ChampCar was that I get to race on all these amazing racetracks, and it's super easy. no licensing, no special qualifications. All you need is your driver's license, your gear, your membership. Rent yourself some seat time, and you can go racing this weekend.
I enjoy racing with ChampCar because I think they provide the closest competition in all the amateur endurance series, and because they race at bucket list tracks.
Hi, this is Rick Brazar from Savannah, Georgia, RPM AutoWorks Racing and Apex Predators Racing Team. What I like about ChampCar Endurance Series is the opportunity it gives an old guy like myself to get back into some competitive door-to-door racing with a modest budget. You can put together a really nice car for not a lot of money, and it's a lot of fun to go out there and mix it up with some top-notch drivers. I enjoy the camaraderie, I enjoy the friendship, and I enjoy the program that ChampCar Endurance Series has put together.
And we are back. ChampCar Live. Brian Bielanski, Bill Strong. Nate's a good guy.
Yes, he is. Good racer, good car builder.
Must be.
That amazed me that he didn't grow up a car guy.
Yeah.
Because as the quality of his work, but he has a lot of really good friends that are, good racers and good car guys. So that helps. And that's, I think, is the big difference between ChampCar and the big time racing is, you have your friends that you have, even big time racing, but you have your friends that can come out and help you. They have specialties that you can use. Speaking of which, this past weekend, we were at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Beautiful weather out there. Moonshine Festival going on. So 1 billion people.
All sloshed.
Yeah. I don't know about slosh, but it was a lot going on down there in where is that place? That's
is it Dahlonega?
Dawsonville.
Dawsonville from
yeah.
Dawsonville.
Yeah, I don't think Bill lives there anymore, but his son Chase, some kid.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, Chase lives there still.
Yeah.
NLS Racing and their Nissan, they take first place on Saturday, whooping up on the Toyota MR2 from Cone Crushers. OFIC Racing taking third. 901 Motorsports, those guys taking fourth. And on Second Thought Racing taking fifth, with Atlanta Speedworks and their Porsche finishing sixth. So it was a weekend with Porsches, and guess what?
Yeah.
They didn't win.
None of them won.
Nope. The internet lies to me, man. They tell me over and over again that these Porsches are just whooping up on everybody.
Yeah.
But you know what whooped up on everybody on Sunday? A Toyota MR2.
I knew this was coming.
I don't get to say that much anymore, man.
You've had that gloating aura.
I did.
All show, and you've been waiting patiently for 43 minutes and 43 seconds into the show.
Come on, Nate. We need to talk about my stuff. Yeah, Cone Crushers wins. It did have some parts of mine on it, which I felt so proud about.
Yeah.
So
you still can't claim the win yourself.
And they were hubs.
All right.
You know how people talk about our hubs falling off? They fell off mine onto his.
Well done.
NLS Racing finished second place, 2 laps behind the Toyota MR2. 901 Motorsports in third. On Second Thought Racing in fourth. Team Bruce Innovations in fifth. And Atlanta Speedworks in their Porsche in sixth. Again, Porsche's not up front. I don't get it.
I don't
either. We do have a tech tip.
We do? Do you want me to play the music?
Yes, play the music.
I will play the music. Go for tech tip.
All right. The tech tip. And this is live, not live, but this is from our chief of tech, Ray Frank. as we are preparing for 2024. He wants to make certain that everybody going to the next few races, that your car is classed in the correct class.
Okay.
And that your engine size is correct, because Tech will be doing post-race inspections to check bore and stroke. We'll also be looking at piston tops and valves. So really, really important, especially at Sebring. And, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, and we're going to put all that to rest.
Okay.
So it's, we might even do spot checks. Don't know yet. Got a meeting tomorrow night. We'll talk about some stuff. So we could be walking through the paddock. Hey, let me look at your pull a spark plug out real quick. Takes a couple minutes, take a look at it.
Yeah.
Done. Move on. So make sure your Miatas are running the correct pistons for that engine that you're claiming. So I just know that there's a picture of a piston, and if it looks like that one and it's not supposed to be in your non-VVT engine, don't put it in.
There you go.
So things like that, big valves, little valves, big pistons, big bore, big strokes.
The warning has been thrown
unless
down.
you've claimed it. Yeah, unless you've claimed it, and you're all good. They may even pull off, make sure your valve train's stock if you've claimed stock valve train. I don't know. It's up to those guys. So just so much crap going on the internet. We're going to put it to rest. We'll either prove, like with Nate, they're not, they don't have illegal parts on their cars or unclaimed parts versus the guys, hey, guess what? So, all right, that's it. That's the tech tip, and we'll keep repeating that up until race day, I think.
There you go.
But we have our tech meeting tomorrow. We're supposed to have our tech meeting tonight, but some folks had to cancel, so we're going to do it tomorrow night.
Fair enough.
So we're not. Other than that, that's what we're going to talk about. So yeah. All right. What's the next segment?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh yeah. So we get a month off, buddy. We don't go racing until December.
So what are we going to talk about?
Everything. So lots going on. We have a board of directors election that starts tomorrow.
Nice.
And when I say tomorrow, it's whenever I wake up and go turn it on. Actually, I think it's turned on right now, but don't tell anybody. I noticed nobody'd vote. I put a link up earlier and nobody's used it. So, yeah, we have, wrong link. Let me get back here. We have 10 people that won the chance to go up for the board of directors.
How many spots?
2 slots.
10 people vying for 2 slots.
10 people vying for 2 slots. I think it's a 2-year job.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff Biesler, he's with the NLS race team. Sam Collier, who races with, I think, Randy Popes and a bunch of other folks. Christopher Huggins, who we all know is already on the board. Josh Jack, he's, I believe, on our tech. Jason Kennedy, Northern Virginia, runs a Miata. David Kiesack has been in racing everything from Corvettes to Camaros to Porsches, and races a Porsche in ChampCar, and also really good business guy. Glenn Cruz, also good racer, not any relation to Paul Cruz. He puts that into his bio, no relation. Bernie Myers, trying again to get on the board. I like Bernie. Steve Malloy. Don't know much about Steve yet, but we're slowly getting in their bios. We're going to be putting them up. You got a month to vote. So, and John Whitnauer is up as well. He's the
Mr. Mini
guy I raced with earlier this year. Yep, he was the Mini. So got these folks there going up for the job, and they'll be putting their bios up. I've got 2 of them up. Just click their name up on the forum.
Okay.
That'll be fun. And then, of course, we have the schedule.
Oh, is it out?
Wow. Not yet. Probably tomorrow.
You keep teasing me, man.
I know. I mean, I know what it is. We've finalized it. We're waiting for. Go to my email. We're waiting. Well, we're going to release it, but we're going to have a couple of dates on there that are not set in stone yet. Gingerman and Laguna Seca.
What?
Still. Oh wait, did I? You were supposed to bleep me out, man.
Oh! So I can't ask you to say it again?
Okay, you ready? Laguna Seca. You missed. You missed. I'm hearing it feedback. Let me check. I think that's what I said, right?
Gosh, I hope you're not teasing me, man.
No, we've got we don't have a date yet. We're still working with them, but yeah, we're going to Road Atlanta, VIR, Harris Hill, NCM.
Okay,
Daytona,
so for all of the folks, can I talk about Laguna for a second?
Watkins Glen.
Can I talk about it for a second?
Yeah.
For all the folks that are on the other side of the big hill, who might not want to come all the way out here by us West Coast people to go to Laguna Seca, here's the sell for the wives: Monterey,
yeah,
Carmel, even
it's
the Bay
awesome.
Area. Make a vacation out of it. And don't just come out for race weekend. Come out the week ahead of time. There are so many cool things to do in that area that that have nothing to do with racing. The series that I do, Super Tour, on SCCA, we're going to New Orleans this year, and my wife's like, "I'm going with you." So we're gonna take a whole week, and we're gonna spend we're gonna spend a couple of days going to eat beignets and listen to jazz, and there's this hurricane something I'm supposed to drink, and so that's how. Maybe it's a long tow, yep. But that's how you kind of justify coming out here, and it's also one of the coolest dang racetracks you're ever gonna go race on.
Right, it is. I've raced on it.
Yeah,
it's a lot more slippier than I thought.
Yes,
because of the sand blowing in off the ocean.
Right,
but it was fun. We had a good time there.
You mean the sand blowing in right off the track next to you?
no, but it was just it was
great.
sandy, and we almost won that, but we didn't.
Yep,
because we were mid-pack. I don't know, top 10. I think we were 10th. Autobahn, we're going to Sebring a couple times. Nelson Ledges. Oh yeah, Ledges.
Some other people are going to be real happy about that.
I'm thinking Park for me for Nelson Ledges.
Ooh.
I think we spice it up a bit.
Do it 12 and 12?
No, 14. No, yeah, 12 and 12. That'd be awesome. No, 7.
Okay.
And no, we're getting it for a really good price. So that's why we're able to do this. And Fred and the team and Brian have really put together a good package for us. And I want to see that race succeed. I'm being told by certain people in our organization that it won't succeed. So I think it will. I really do think it will, because I know our racers want to race, and that's a good racing track. We'll be at VIR for the 24 this year. Thompson, Mid-Ohio, Harris Hill, Pittsburgh, Road America, Atlanta Motorsports Park, Virginia, Sebring. Gingerman. We're still waiting on our date for Gingerman, by the way.
Yeah.
We've everybody at Gingerman's moved their dates around, and we're still waiting for ours. So.
Yep.
And then maybe, like I said, Laguna Seca. We've submitted. We'll see what happens. And all they can do is say yes or no, or here's the date, and it conflicts with our other stuff.
Yeah.
But we will be going back there. We are not going to Indy like was said, last year or earlier this year. But we will work on that for next year.
Cool.
2025. I'm sorry, 2025.
Yes.
There's just a lot going on in this company. Like we've said in the past, we had a hard time there for a bit. We've come out of it, and we're looking good, but we really have to be responsible with how we spend money, and this is one of them.
Well, and when you go to a place like Indy, it's good to not go every year, because it loses kind of some of its shiny, happy people moment when you do it every year. So it makes it a lot more special to go to some of these, even like Laguna Seca, if you get a chance to come back out here. It's great that you don't come out every year, because when you do have it, then people can circle it on and just go.
Yeah.
So
no Hallett next year. We'll review it again. I said the board, asked us to reduce our schedule, and a lot of it was due to outgoing money. We had to reduce the money losers, you can call it, for us, and we'll see. And again, some of these races that we're doing are later on in the year, and we'll reassess as we go.
Right.
But I think that race will do good. The same with a couple others that we have on there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whatever we do, nobody's going to like. You know that.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. There's always going to be someone who won't be happy.
We try. We would try to do a 24 at Watkins Glen, a 24 at Daytona, a 28-hour race at Sebring, but maybe in 2025.
All right.
Wait, did I say that?
I didn't hear a thing.
Maybe, hopefully, Chelsea's not listening.
No, she's listening.
Oh, damn it.
Mute him.
He's supposed to be hitting the thing. What's the first Midwest race coming this year? First of all, I have no freaking clue where the Midwest is. When I hear Midwest, I think of like El Cajon.
No, that's not Midwest. It's got to be in May. You got like Gingerman in May or
no, NCM.
NCMs. Yeah, that's kind of Midwest-ish.
Yeah.
That's Midwest-ish. Midwest
No.
adjacent.
Daytona's Midwest between 95 and the beach. I don't know.
Except that it's east. It's mid-east. There's nothing
But
west about Daytona.
But it's west of the east side of the I-95 corridor.
No, it's actually east of I-95.
Yes, but it's west
Of what?
of the east side of it.
It's not. It's west of the East Coast by about 5 miles.
On that note, check your bore and strokes, kids.
That's what all the
That's all
girls
we
tell
ask.
me.
Check your bore and stroke, because we are.
Oh, that's too funny. All right, my man. We'll get back and do this again next week. How about that?
All right, dude. Yep. We need a guest for next week. Anybody want to be on the show?
Yeah?
Pop me an email.
That's awesome.
Things like that. So, all right, you go have dinner. Have fun. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you later, Brian.
All right, we are going to do it here. Oh, wrong button. I hate when I do that. Let's hit this button. There we go. And then I got to hit this button over here so I get that darn script up because I don't have this thing memorized. That's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. It would also be great if you share it on your social media channels. Comment on the ChampCar Facebook page. Good comments only. Bad comments, go put it on some other series page. New episodes every Tuesday night on the YouTube and every Thursday morning on the Racing Wire Podcast Network. For Bill Strong, I'm Brian Bielanski. Have yourself a great week. We'll see you next time, everybody.